Hola.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Well, we finally have another instalment for you after I think it's been about 2 weeks since our last video update, and it's been a fair bit happened since then, and we've got a long way to go.
Yeah, Tierra del Fuego. Last time we said we were off to the island, the southern tip, almost to our most southern goal, and successfully did so.
Yeah, that's right. We left my bike in Puerto Natales, and we headed to Punta Arenas tour. Well, Nick and me on one bike and Adam on the other bike. From there we headed across, caught a ferry across to Tierra del Fuego. It was an amazing ferry ride. We saw dolphins playing, jumping out of the water. Saw this crazy black and white dolphins. I'd never seen that species before. We continued down south all the way to Ushuaia. Some of the coldest riding we've had. Wasn't so bad for me. I was on the back, tucked up in a little ball. But these guys told me it was cold and windy. I don't know. But there was one point in particular where it was just so cold. We were going up through a pass. There was snow. We were coming down the other side. I thought there was ice. Nick was taking it like a Formula 1 driver, just going for gold, and I was scared on the back. I just really was, and yeah, it was scary. But we got to Ushuaia. It was beautiful. We did the 25 k's past Ushuaia to get to the very southernmost point that we could. Before there was a big sign that said stop, can't go any further without paying some money. So we turned around and came back. There was one night before we caught the ferry back across to the mainland where we thought, yep, we'll just go for it. We had 100 kilometres to go. It was gravel. I was on the back of Nick's bike and it went dark. So we decided we had two bikes riding beside each other. I don't know, more headlights, we could see where we're going. And again, sitting on the back of Nick's bike going 50, 60 k an hour in the gravel in the dark. It was not a pleasurable experience, but we finally got back. The bits for my bike had arrived. The mechanic Jose, brilliant guy, put it all back together. Bike started sort of first pop, then big stress. But anyway, I needed a new battery because the bike wasn't running properly, and we set off for Argentina.
Finally left Punta Natales after days spent fixing mechanics and eating regularly at the 2.5 mil peso place where this lady kind of put us under her wing and used to feed us a 3-course meal and a Sylvester each night. It was good times. But like Tierra del Fuego was cold, but for me, we set out, I think all of us actually, we set out from Punta Natales and crossed the continent to get on the coast to head up through Argentina, beelining it from Buenos Aires. And we camped outside this place called Rio Gallos, 30 kilometres out after refueling, and it was in a valley in Patagonia, which is a flat, barren landscape, but we found shelter from the wind, which we thought would be the most, the biggest problem. But that night got cold and we sheltered early, as we do when there's nothing better to do than crawl into bed. But we woke up early. Mike, I think you got up as well. I got up early needing to go to the toilet.
What do you mean woke up? I need to sleep. It's survival.
It was a cold, cold night, and we're fortunate enough to have decent sleeping bags. Nick, on the other hand, I think struggled through it. I remember crunching my way through the ice in the morning. And yeah, I presume ice was on your beanie, and it certainly was settled all over the bikes, all over the tents. But for us, I think that was the incentive to head north.
That's right. Yeah.
We reached Ushuaia, got to Rio Gallos, froze our tits off, and had 2,500 kilometres to get to Buenos Aires, and literally it didn't stop. Yeah. It was beeline, straight down the middle of the road, and when I say straight, the road was awfully straight. I can remember only several bends on the way up, and camping when possible about dusk after filling up the tanks with fuel. Roadside, usually squashing a fence or yeah, pretty much pushing over a fence and riding on in, camping, up at daybreak and ride on. We managed to smash the equivalent distance it took us, what, a month and a half to get south in 4 or 5 days to get north. So
Slightly different roads.
tad different.
Slightly.
Hard going,
Boring.
straight.
Yeah, the hum of the engine sort of rang in the ears hours after bedtime, but
But after that, every 100 metres we went north, I swear it got a degree warmer. After that night before where I got up to take a piss and found it frozen in the pipes.
yeah, every night sort of 5-6 degrees warmer, layer by layer. Removing was good time. Good time. But yeah, Buenos Aires, ultimate goal. Like Nick Marlow, his house where we're sitting in now, sort of met us in central Buenos Aires after our 6-day stint without a shower, and welcomed us into his home where we are at the moment. And it has been beyond anything we could have expected. Sort of reached a moment in our travels where mechanical issues and we're all run down and tired alike needed to be repaired, restored, and thanks to Helen, who's fed us day in, day out.
Put 3 kilos on this. Seriously.
Such good food, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, rekindled our will to enjoy the food of this continent. And Marco, who has 2 bikes himself out the back, has been oodles of help in us preparing our bikes to go further. And of course the boys, taking us out, Nico showing us about the place. Welcome, made us feel welcome, and certainly an important milestone in this journey.
Absolutely. Buenos Aires is a pretty amazing city. We went for a stomp yesterday, all around the city, and just sort of took a train into the centre, and much to the horror of Helen, set out on a mission to find the doggiest areas we could. And it's great. Went for a stomp around and saw a good cross section. It's a pretty wild sort of a city. We walk downtown, and it's everyone's pretty well dressed, and there's definitely a lot of money around, and it's an hour-long lunch break is the norm during the business day, and everyone just goes and jumps on their sports bike with no helmet and rips down to the cafe and sip lattes. It's
more finesse than an unshaved Casanova, like I said.
So it's been amazing. Then we obviously saw the complete the other side of it, where you find yourself walking through the streets, watching every step to avoid the dog turds, and just getting checked out and all the sketchy looks from the locals hanging out. But all in all, a pretty safe environment, I reckon, compared to some of the things we're going to see. But yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. We've been sitting here for the last little while, finally got around to actually having a look at our maps, figuring out where we're going to head next. We made a pretty dramatic decision just recently to taking into account a lot of the time that we've lost due to mishaps and the bikes arriving late from shipping and that sort of thing, and the horrendous number of kilometres that it would take for us to hit Los Angeles. So we made a pretty dramatic decision to not cross the Darien Gap into Central America as a trio. As we have a deadline, sort of beginning of August, we're now just going to stick to South America and actually give ourselves time to breathe, and actually see some of the place and chill out. It's been a bit of a wake-up call for us. The absolute push that it was down south, riding almost 1,000 kilometres in a day and all that sort of thing. It's just completely unrealistic to hit LA, so it's going to be amazing. We've decided from here we're going to head north up to Iguazu, check out falls, probably both on the Argentinian side and Bolivia, and from there, Brazil side, and then from there head up to Rio de Janeiro.
Sweet.
Which would be cool. I guess that's probably where you'll hear from us next, hopefully.
That'll be the next update.
Yeah, maybe
Keep
with
you posted.
a few more bullet holes.